Some of you have come with the brilliant suggestion that I shouldn't be talking so much in my videos. I should rather show you how things sound. So without further ado, I think we'll just skip to the part where I demo how the Keylab Essential from Arturia sounds. Ta-da! Okay, so I just wanted to joke a little bit. Of course, the Keylab Essentials from Arturia doesn't really sound like anything. It's a MIDI keyboard. But I thought I'd joke a little bit with some of the comments you guys have been leaving. So welcome to this review of the Arturia Keylab Essentials. It's their new sort of mid-tier MIDI keyboard and controller. This version of the Keylab comes in a 41 and 61 key version. I got the 61 key version sitting over there, and it costs 200 euros I think for the 41 key and 250 euros for the 61 key. And included in that price is the Analog Lab software. And it's not the light version, the budget version that you get with the Minilab Mark II that I've also reviewed here on the channel. I leave a link in the description. It's the full version and it has over 5,000 sounds that are pretty good. So the standard way of demoing a product like this would be for me to kind of hook it up to a computer and show you how it integrates with a DAW and with the software that you get bundled. But I think a lot of people will be doing that, so I'll start this review off by demoing it together with the Digitact from Electron. I basically set up a custom template on the Keylab that controls some parameters on the Digitact. And this is because the Keylab has a MIDI out port. That is something I think is very good, and it separates it from other cheap MIDI controllers that often do not have a real MIDI connection. Basically that means you can connect this to whatever synth you want. So let's check a little demo that I made using the Keylab and the Digitact.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought. Nothing to think about except thought. A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought.
One of the most important features on a MIDI keyboard is of course the keybed itself. Keylab Essentials actually sports a pretty nice keybed. It's definitely good enough for an electronic music producer, and if you're a beginner it's actually a really good keyboard for its price. But if you're a seasoned keyboard or piano player, you'll probably want something a little bit better, but then you have to spend about double the amount of money to get something with more of a piano feel, I'd say. The keys doesn't feel too mushy. They have a bit of resistance to them, but it's a pretty quick travel, so they don't compare well to something like a piano. However, if I would compare it to other synths, I'd say it's a lot better than the keybed on the Minilogue. It's a little bit closer to something like the Keystep, even though the keys are bigger on the Keylab. It's definitely comparable to the quality of the keys on the Bass Station 2, and I would say it's slightly below the quality of the keys on the analog keys from Electron, and that's a 1500 euro product. And comparing this keyboard to my old Axiom from M Audio, I actually enjoyed the keys on the Keylab a little bit more due to having a little bit more resistance. Oh, and I just wanted to say that this video was made with the support of all my patrons over on patreon.com/bowbeats. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go there and check it out. The keyboard comes with 9 faders and 9 rotary encoders. And these encoders and faders can be used in basically 3 different ways. Either you have them to control the mixer, this is in the DAW mode, or you use them to control something like Analog Lab or V Collection, and the faders and rotary encoders then control specific parameters in these synthesizers, and that's already set up for you. Or you can use a user template, basically assigning them to whatever slot you want. For example, you might have the keyboard connected via the MIDI out port to a hardware synthesizer, and you've set up a template that you switch to whenever you want to use that synthesizer. The rotary encoders feel pretty good. It's the same kind of general quality as on the Keystep and something like the Minilab Mark II. So it's definitely a step up from the Minilab Mark I in that regard. They also feel pretty similar to something like the Drum Brutes encoders. The faders, on the other hand, doesn't have enough resistance to them for my liking. If I compare it to something like the Launch Control XL from Novation, I think that the Novation got the upper hand here. A lot more resistance and a bit more quality feel. But of course you have to take into consideration the kind of package that you're paying for here. 250 euros for a 61 key keyboard with a really good software. So, I mean, it's a bargain. Another great feature of this product is that it comes with buttons that lets you control your DAW, something like Cubase, Logic, or Ableton Live. So as you can see here, it has start, stop, pause, fast forward, rewind, loop, and some other functions as well. On the front of the unit there's a mod wheel. There's also a pitch wheel with a fair bit of resistance to it. There's also 8 pads that can use for various things. You can, for example, play drums with them, but you can also use them to switch between different settings for the unit. You just hold the button and you pick whatever slot you want. So you have 8 in total, and 2 are already occupied with the DAW configuration as well as 1 for Analog Lab. And on the back of the unit you have a MIDI port that you can use to transmit data from the keyboard to, say, an external synth. You have a sustain pedal input, you have a USB port for data transfer as well as power, and you have a power input, but you don't get a power brick with the unit itself. So who is the Keylab for? Well, I think it would be great for a beginner looking for that first MIDI keyboard. It's not super advanced, but it still has a lot of options that you can grow into over time, and it comes with a great bundled software. I also think it's kind of useful for the intermediate user, somebody who knows his way around software and hardware, but wants something with a tight integration using Analog Lab or the V Collection, or just something to control the DAW using the different faders and knobs to kind of automate different functions. So I think that works really nice as well. However, if you're an advanced user, I think you should be looking at something different, because it's quite limited in the amount of things you can change on the keyboard itself. And there's not really that great options for doing splits and so on. So yeah, there's just a ton of MIDI functionality that just aren't there. But then of course it's a 250 euro keyboard, so you have to take that into consideration. So overall, I think that the Keylab Essentials is a really good product. I think you get a lot of value for your money at 250 euros with included software and the tight integration between the keyboard and the software. I think that this is a winner for anybody looking for a budget MIDI keyboard. So this video was brought to you by all the helpful people over on patreon.com/bowbeats. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much.